Well, Razorback fans, you should be extremely happy because you got Johnell Davis, and it doesn't look like they're done yet, adding another one and another one and another one, so let's keep it moving.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of the John Neighbors Show, which you can catch every weekday afternoon from 4 to 6 on Natty State Sports and nattystatesports.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more, where right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 winning bet. That's $150 with any $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. So we're getting closer to the weekend and continuing on with Razorback basketball becoming the headline, as we didn't have a chance to talk about it yesterday, but wanted to bring it up today, where Arkansas adds another player, big-time player, into the mix, as well as some coaching hires to go along with it. But Johnell Davis was the one, man. Nelly, as he likes to be called, or at least that's what I hear. He is officially a Razorback, and he had a chance to sign with the NBA or go to the NBA. And somebody like Jeff Goodman, who I know and I trust, also had to say, hey, this is a deal between the NBA and Johnell where he could go for a two-way contract and more than $1 million, or just go and join John Calipari in Arkansas. Chicken man. Chicken man. That's all I'm going to say. Chicken man. But either way, it was a huge get. He's the number one player out of the transfer portal. And he is 6'4", 203 pounds. Pro quality dude. Just an absolute beast. He spent the last 4 seasons at FAU, and one of them, of course, being 2 seasons ago when he made it to the Final Four as part of the team. And he averaged, these aren't bad numbers, 18 points a game, 42% from three-point range, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 steal, all this past year for FAU. He was the AAC Conference Player of the Year, and he was the 6th Man of the year before. He's a gamer. He's a dude. He's a dog. He's a beast. He's number 1 out of the transfer portal, and Arkansas got him. So just huge get. So now that leaves Arkansas with the number 1 player in the transfer portal, the number 4 player in the transfer portal, and Big Z, depending on where you look at, but still one of the best classes in the transfer portal, one of the best high school classes together too. Oops. It looks like Arkansas is continuing to build their resume. How fun. And then you throw in other guys too, like the high school class that Arkansas is getting. And how about the Arrow, where he's a transfer from Kentucky? He was on campus yesterday. He averaged 7.5 points a game, 5 rebounds, a block shot, 50% from the chair or from the field. And, you know, he wasn't exactly setting the world on fire in the stats, but he's 6'8", 222 pounds, and he's a former highly recruited player out of the high school ranks, and he'll have 2 years of eligibility remaining. He was in Fayetteville. Word is that maybe DJ Wagner might be in the mix. He's also a player from Kentucky. Averaged 10 points a game, 2 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game. 6'4", 142 pounds. It's just, it grows, it spreads, it's getting crazier and crazier and crazier each and every day. And I'm here for it. You know, Arkansas still might be in the mix with some other players too. And like Keyshawn Pryor is the one that really to keep your eye on. He's from South Florida. He's 6'10", 210. Dude looks wild. Like, looks like a big personality. Couldn't wait for that. But he averaged 13 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, and shot 35% from 3. Just another great player. He might be in the mix, and he's also from Chicago. Began his career at Boise State and just moved up the ranks. Yep. You know, sometimes it's like the way that things are going right now, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. Actually, I might, but I don't want to look at it and say like, oh, this is, you know, making predictions on what the season's going to be or what it's going to hold. But man, oh man, with what Arkansas's got going on, it makes you think, I wonder what the poor people are doing today. I wonder what all those other places with the lack of NIL, I wonder what they're doing. Lack of not having Calipari, I wonder what they're doing. It's a bad day for the haters of Arkansas and Calipari, as it continues to show and as it continues to be. Arkansas is doing all the things that they need to do to put it together and to make it great as a team and what they've been getting afterwards into the recruiting elements. Like, it's awesome, man. Like, how can you not be excited like you never have been before with Razorback basketball? I mean, how can you not? That's 3 transfer commitments and 3 high school commitments already. That's 6 players. And there's word and talk that you could still have 2 or 3 guys that are one of the top guys in high school or the country in the transfer portal. Now, Trevin Brazil didn't enter into the transfer portal, which was announced yesterday. I know he went to the NBA, but into the NBA draft, put his name in there, but he also wants to do this. I don't know what's going on with him. It's weird. It's interesting, but still. He's wanting to do that. Power to him. He's not coming back, so don't worry about it, folks. Don't worry about it. He wants to see what's on the horizon, and maybe he wants to see what's going on there with potential deals in NIL that he could have happen to him. But yeah, Arkansas is just continuing to do a great job with it. They're coming through in the clutch. They're getting the things that matter the most. Man, I'm just excited about this. I can't stop looking at it. The big board, transfer portal big board on nattystatesports.com. Just seeing these names and seeing these stats and seeing the interest level that they have. I think that, to me, is what some of you Razorback fans need to be really excited about. So see who pops off next. Arkansas, knock on wood, they've been getting pretty much anybody that they wanted, or everybody that they did want, they ended up getting. So why not keep it moving? Why not keep it happening? I'm just so excited about how all this is continuing to transpire. Bad day for the haters, man. Bad day for the haters. I can tell you this, though. It's not a bad day for what we're about to talk about. We'll talk about baseball here in a bit there. It's not a bad day for them either. But before we do, folks, all right, got to pause because I got to tell you about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You've already talked enough about that and everything. But here's just so much good stuff to talk about when it comes to the game. And in Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the awesome prizes that you begin to unlock, and there's so much more to get. Unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete for albums of big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you want to smash their buildings and heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels like the exciting everyday deal with constantly changing tournaments and challenges, and a ton include their own unique mini games for digging a treasure or for a robot Panchenko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something new and fun to discover with Monopoly Go, so get off the bench and go download it for free right now on Google Play or the App Store. Game on.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. And I did want to bring up a little bit of baseball, but I just realized as I'm recording this podcast, I forgot to mention something that's also very important for basketball. Again, can't get enough of the basketball side. Can't get enough. But official coaching staff hires have been made for John Calipari and for Arkansas as Chin Coleman, great name, like Chin, like an actual Chin. Chin Coleman and Chuck Martin both have been added officially to the staff. According to the press release, Coleman, old Chin, he's going to serve as the associate head coach, and Martin will be an assistant coach. They're the second and third known hires to Calipari staff, including Kenny Payne, who was also hired as the associate head coach. They got 2 associate head coaches, apparently. Can never have too many associate head coaches. But Chin Coleman spent the last 3 years under Calipari at Kentucky. After a 4-season stint at Illinois that began in 2017. He was at Bradley. He was at Illinois Chicago. So he's been around and had some success then. And also, for Martin, He's a longtime assistant who served under Calipari's bench, as an assistant and recruiting coordinator at Kentucky last season. He's from San Juan, Puerto Rico. He began his coaching career as an assistant at Seton Hall. He was also an assistant at UMass. He was at Drexel. He's at St. John's. He was at Memphis. He's been all over the place too, and he's been a long time guy dealing with players and dealing with scouting even, because he was also a scout with the Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder, for that. So you got some coaches that have been added to the mix that are going to be huge for Arkansas and huge for, again, what they're trying to build and accomplish. So good for them. But also wanted to bring up the baseball side, where they are really just so good. And they took care of business in the midweek against Missouri State. I was kind of expecting at some point in time to have a letdown in the midweeks. And I'm not saying it was ever just simple and easy, because it wasn't. But you got to admit, it's extremely impressive to continue to see Arkansas Razorback baseball do what they do in the manner that they're doing it. Like, they still need work. I'm not saying they're perfect. I still think they're one of the best teams in the country. I still think they're good enough to win it all. But I still need to see a few more things. They went undefeated in the midweek at home this year. I mean, the only non-conference game that they lost, really, was the one in Arlington against Oklahoma State. And then they lost one against James Madison, I believe. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, the home record has been incredible. And the rest of it has also been awesome. So they are just continuing to grind it out, find ways to win, be awesome, and to not have any letdowns either. It's tough enough winning in the SEC. Like, if you lose an SEC series, sucks. It happens. You just can't lose too many of them. But to be able to continue to do this and get everyone's best shot and not fall short, not like take a day off against some random team, because midweek losses happen all the time against great teams, because you try things, you do what, but Arkansas still finds ways to win. It gets down to the nitty-gritty here moving forward, because it's not going to be any easier. But I'm just proud of this team that they've been able to do this pretty consistently and not have any letdowns in the midweek. Got to give a shout-out to them, folks. On the other side of the break, we're going to have JJ Metz, who covers FAU. Youngest credentialed media member, as I found out. He's going to be joining us to talk about Johnell Davis and about what he can be expected to be at Arkansas. True insider. Looking forward to that. And we'll do that here in just a second. But folks, got to tell you about Gametime and the Gametime app. We know that when you're going out there trying to find tickets to games, baseball games, basketball games, any Razorback event, sometimes you made a last-minute decision. You want to go and get tickets. Don't know where to go, don't know where to turn. Well, look no further than the Gametime app. Because when you use the Gametime app, the last-minute tickets are always going to be giving you the best deal, up to 60% off when it has the last-minute deal. So if you're making a decision at the very end, you can take advantage of some of the last-minute deals that they have going on. No other app does that. They also have flash deals, zone deals, all-in pricing too, which is one of my favorite things. You can forget all the fees that get added up at the mix. When you see the ticket, you see the pricing, you can toggle that option, and it'll show it to you guaranteed right there, so you don't have to be like, hey, I got charged double for what I thought was a great deal. No, they give you the prices straightforward and up front, and they have the lowest ticket price guaranteed, or you get 110% of your money back. Plain and simple. Or 110% of the difference, I should say. Money back would be too good. But they still are going to take care of you to make sure that they are good to go for that front. So download the Gametime app and create an account using promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so I told you guys we were going to be joined by one of my guys here, so let's go ahead and hear from JJ Metz.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so we're talking about the biggest news of the day, or of the time frame, at least for Arkansas. It seems like just another player gets added into the mix for the transfer portal. And the biggest one, of course, latest being Johnell Davis, which has been a huge get for John Calipari, as well as the Arkansas Razorbacks, and someone who's joining us who wants to talk more about it, who knows a little bit about FAU, and where Johnell Davis is going to be coming from, is JJ Metz, who, of course, is the youngest credentialed media member in college basketball history, something to hold to his record, as well as a recruiting insider for FAU Owl's Nest, as well as the Inside the Burrow. So, JJ, appreciate you reaching out. Appreciate you joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me and letting me come on, John. You do a great job, and I'm excited to get into it.
Oh, it's good to have you on, man. I appreciate it. So, Johnell Davis, how do you describe him? Number one player in the transfer portal. Arkansas fans are really happy to get him, but like, just how do you quantify getting a player of that magnitude to be able to join Arkansas and John Calipari?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm an Arkansas fan, I'd definitely be very happy to describe him. Just really solid player, very efficient, sort of 40, 48, 90 guy, sort of from field, 3-point, and free throw percentage. Has a really quick first step. Got to the hoop a lot, which we saw a lot more of last season. He was shooting it very, very efficient at over 41% from three. So you should definitely be super excited to have Johnell Davis. He's able to take over games late, and he was sort of the guy for FAU last year and played really solid. We saw all his stats increase from 2 years ago to last year, and I'd definitely be very happy if I'm an Arkansas fan to get Nelly.
So why do you think he ended up wanting to leave FAU? He had success there, of course, made it to the Final Four and everything, but why do you think he wanted to leave FAU to begin with?
Yeah, so with the modern day of college basketball, there's NIL opportunities, and with the transfer portal being open, he could have got, there are better opportunities for him to make money and make name, image, and likeness. And Arkansas is a program that definitely provides that. Obviously, playing under a coach who's known for developing guards and making them NBA players, and that's Johnell's ultimate goal. So I think he left FAU to maybe make something, especially name, image, and likeness in college. And, Coach Cal is known for getting guards to the NBA. So that is definitely something that he took into consideration and why he committed.
So people see the offensive numbers that he has, and obviously they're very impressive, but people wonder about the defense and what he's able to provide there. What can you tell us about the defensive side of the basketball as an individual for someone like Johnell?
Yeah, so his defense definitely isn't the stronger part of his game. He's more of an offensive player. I think he had the fourth lowest defensive BPR according to Evan My Stats, showing that he gave up the fourth most points to the closest defender. So definitely something that he can improve on. He wasn't really aggressive that much on defense, didn't really contest too many shots. They put him sometimes in drop coverage where he'd be guarding closer to the hoop, but definitely something he can improve on. And one of the main things he's going to be working on for next year to make him be an NBA player, which is his ultimate goal.
So the experience that he has getting into the Final Four and everything, that's something that everyone's always interested in, is a player's experience. And a lot of it comes into leadership. Is he the type of guy that's going to be a vocal leader, more of a leader by example, or is he just a great player that fits into a role perfectly?
Yeah, Johnell is more of a quiet guy, not so much of a vocal leader on the court. He's kind of like, to compare him like as a leader like Kawhi Leonard, sort of that quiet guy who's going to make shots but fit into a really good role like he did at FAU last year. So he's definitely not going to be that vocal sort of leader, but definitely is going to be huge in terms of this team. And that's something that he said he wanted to improve on, his leadership abilities. And maybe he can do that next year, especially in a really good Arkansas team.
Well, JJ, I know that FAU is a program that has now had some loss, of course, with their coach leaving and everything. But looking at someone like Sean May and what he was able to accomplish there, just what have you, or Dusty May, like what were you seeing from him as a coach and how he better prepared somebody like Johnell? What was him about as a coach that had success recruiting-wise and development-wise, and how he was able to make Johnell get to the player that he ended up being?
Recruiting-wise, Johnell is from Gary, Indiana, which is about an hour of where Dusty is hometown. So definitely close relationship. Dusty and one of his assistants, Raheem Hakeem, went and watched him in an open gym in his junior year of high school. He came down to FAU and visited, and after his visit, he committed. So recruiting aspect, Dusty May, definitely great recruiter in that sort of sense. But in terms of on the court player, Dusty definitely developed Johnell's game a lot. Really sort of changed his shooting arc to help him be more efficient from three. Shooting percentage went up 5% from beyond the arc. And I just think Johnell fit perfect into his system with Dusty, with them playing the European offense off ghost screens, where they would prioritize Johnell a lot to get him open on off-ball screens where he'd cut to the basket. He also was able to get in isolation a lot. Dusty put him in ISO at the top of the key, which is something that, hopefully Coach Cal can incorporate, because that's what he likes to do. He loves to get to the hoop, and he's a really, really solid player that you guys should be really happy to get. Obviously, knowing that he's the number one player in the portal just makes it that much better.
All right, so JJ, I got to admit, there's probably a lot of people that are sitting here and we're expecting I don't know how old you are, but when you reached out to me on social media, it said you were the youngest credentialed media member in college basketball. How'd you get to that point that you're the youngest media member, and how'd you get credentialed?
Yeah, so I've been passionate about college basketball and college athletics from a young age. So I started my podcast at 10, and an FAU site really liked it. They're looking for some help on recruiting and writing articles about recruiting. So they reached out, they credentialed me. So I have media passes to go into the media room, ask coaches questions after the game, go in the locker room before game, ask some questions. And yeah, it's great access. So definitely very happy that I have that, and super fortunate and grateful to have credentials to FAU.
Yeah, I'm just, I appreciate and I respect your hustle, my man, because I was just looking to, talk to somebody about Johnell. Actually, it worked out, and you DM'd me. I was like, okay, well, this will be great. So, but to be able to do that at such a young age, it's impressive. I mean, I'm over here old as can be and still trying to figure it out. So, very cool. So you got a passion for this and doing podcasting and credentialing and recruiting. And I even saw on your Twitter that I guess on the 26th of April, you were predicting Johnell Davis to end up going to Arkansas. Was that because you had some inside knowledge, or is it because you just had a gut feeling that Arkansas was going to be the move?
Yeah, Johnell and I, not sure if you're familiar with NBA 2K, but we play that sometimes. So I'm close with Nelly. I talk to him a lot. So I had some insight then. He took a visit last week. He really loved Fayetteville. He loved the campus, the university, the facilities. He loved Coach Cal. So that's pretty much where my prediction was coming from. And that was, pretty spot on. But yeah, basically that was from some insight that I got from him.
Sometimes people in journalism try to find any sort of situation that they can get a scoop in, and you're over here just playing video games with Nelly, and that's how you get the scoop. But hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do, man. I appreciate and respect the hustle and everything. But JJ, appreciate you coming on, talking a little Johnell with us. I know Razorback fans are excited about it, and sounds like there's a lot of reasons to be excited about it. But we appreciate you joining us, and good luck, man, in your future, and good luck doing the things that you're doing and getting credentialed, man. That's awesome, and I'm sure we'll be catching up with you at some point in time, maybe when you make it big time later down the road.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, John.